All right, welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Today we're going to be diving into something I think a lot of you have probably heard about, might even be a little intimidated by, but it's definitely something that's becoming more and more relevant in the business world, and that is artificial intelligence, or AI, as most people call it. And I think, if you're running a business, especially like a smaller business, the term AI can seem really complicated, like something out of a science fiction movie,
Definitely.
Something that only these giant tech companies have to worry about. But what if I told you it's actually becoming a lot less sci-fi and a lot more like a tool, a surprisingly helpful tool that anyone can use to really boost their business?
Absolutely. Think of this deep dive as your crash course on AI, cutting through the noise. We took a deep dive into this great article called AI for Non-Techies, Simple Ways to Boost Your Business.
Really good title.
It is, yeah. And our mission here is to pull out the really important, the practical, actionable insights that can make a difference for you, the listener, right now. Forget about needing that computer science degree.
Right.
We're here to show you how AI can work for your business today.
Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of you listening are thinking, okay, AI, cool, but what does that actually have to do with me? How's this trend going to change how I run my business day to day? How does it impact my bottom line? So whether you're running a little retail shop, a service, an online store, maybe you're a consultant, whatever it is,
Doesn't matter.
AI's got these capabilities that are honestly more accessible and more useful than you might think.
Way more.
So let's get into it, all right? What exactly is this thing we call AI? Break it down for us.
Okay, so simplest terms possible. AI is basically teaching machines to think and act like we do, like humans. Now, before anyone freaks out, we're not talking about robots suddenly having feelings and taking over the world,
Skynet situation.
Exactly, no Skynet.
Yeah.
And think of it more like AI is a super sharp assistant. It can process tons of information, way more than we can, find those hidden patterns that we might miss, and then make decisions based on that data, all crazy fast.
Okay, so it's like having, a super efficient team member who's just crunching numbers and spotting trends 24/7?
Yeah, exactly. The article called it like a virtual employee that's always on the clock, never gets tired, never takes a break, and can do these repetitive tasks with incredible accuracy.
Right.
And the thing to remember is it's all rooted in math. AI runs on these things called algorithms.
Algorithms, yeah.
Think of them as detailed instructions step by step for how to process all that information. And the really cool part is it learns and gets better over time.
So the algorithms, it's like a specific set of rules the computer follows to handle the data, is that right?
Exactly. And as it processes more and more, it actually can refine those rules so its analysis and decisions just keep getting better. Like, remember that bakery example from the article?
I do, yeah.
Instead of the owner just guessing how many loaves of bread to bake on a Saturday, an AI could look at years of their sales data, factor in the day of the week, the weather, even local events, and predict way more accurately how many loaves they should actually bake.
Right, so it takes the guesswork out of it. It's not just automating, it's actually making decisions based on the data.
Exactly.
It's intelligent. Okay, so I know a lot of people listening might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but AI's got to be super expensive, right? It's got to be something that only these giant companies with tons of resources can actually afford and use.
Yeah, that used to be true, but not anymore. That's a key point, The article emphasizes how AI has become way more accessible. In the past few years, AI tools haven't just gotten cheaper, they've become easier to use.
Okay.
You don't need a whole team of tech experts to start using AI in your business. These things are designed for everyday users now.
So if you're a small business owner and you're already wearing a million hats, why even bother with AI? What are the advantages, the core benefits that you're going to see?
Well, the article highlights 4 main areas where AI can really help you out. First, it's a huge time saver. Think about all those routine tasks you do every day, organizing emails, managing inventory, stuff like that. AI can automate all of that. Second, it can seriously improve your customer service. AI-powered chatbots can give instant answers to customer questions any time of day or night.
204/7.
24/7, exactly. Third, AI can boost your sales. By analyzing customer data, it can make personalized product recommendations.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? So you're not just sending out generic marketing blasts anymore. And finally, it can actually reduce your costs over time.
How's that?
Well, by making your operations more efficient, you can cut down on waste and streamline your processes. So time savings, happier customers, more revenue, and lower overhead. It's a pretty compelling case for AI.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. So let's get into some specifics, right? Let's talk about some of the ways that a small business can actually use AI. The article mentions chatbots, and we've all seen these on websites, those little pop-up windows asking if you need help. What's the real value of those for a business, and how do they work?
So a chatbot, it's like an AI-powered customer service rep that lives on your website or in your app, and it can handle all those basic questions customers have, like, what are your hours? Or how do I track my order? They can give details about your products, help people navigate your website, even guide them through checkout if you have an online store. And some really sophisticated chatbots can even analyze the tone of the customer's messages and figure out if they need to pass the conversation over to a human.
That's a good point. It's not about completely replacing human interaction.
Right.
It's about handling those simple things so you can focus on the more complex stuff.
Absolutely. And for a small business, that 24/7 availability can be a game changer.
Definitely. The article mentions some specific tools like, what was it, Tidio?
Yeah, Tidio and ManyChat.
ManyChat.
Those are good places to start.
Okay, so for people who are maybe just dipping their toes into AI, are there any limitations to those free tools versus, the paid versions?
Yeah, it's a good question. Free tools are great for getting started, especially if you have a lower volume of inquiries.
Okay.
But they might limit how many chats you can have or how much you can customize the chatbot. The paid versions usually have more advanced features like natural language processing so the chatbot can understand more complex questions, and they give you better data on how the chatbot's performing.
Gotcha. So if you're really serious about using a chatbot, it might be worth investing in a paid version.
Exactly.
Okay, what's another way businesses can use AI?
Well, let's talk about email marketing. I mean, we all get those generic email blasts that just feel so impersonal, right? AI can make your email marketing way smarter. It can analyze how your customers are interacting with your emails, what they've bought, what they've clicked on, and then personalize the messages based on their interests.
So instead of sending the same email to everyone on your list, you can tailor it to each individual person.
Exactly. Think about how Netflix recommends shows you might like based on your viewing history.
Right.
AI can do the same thing with email marketing.
Wow, that's pretty cool. What platforms offer that kind of AI-powered email marketing?
A lot of the popular ones do. Mailchimp, for example, has AI features built in. They can help you segment your audience and even suggest subject lines that are more likely to get people to open your emails.
So AI can actually help you write better subject lines.
It can. It can analyze what's worked well in the past and suggest variations that might perform even better.
That's amazing. All right, let's move on to something I know a lot of businesses struggle with: managing inventory. It's always a balancing act, right?
It is.
You don't want to run out of popular items, but you also don't want to have too much stock sitting around collecting dust.
And that's where AI can be a lifesaver.
How so?
AI-powered inventory tools can analyze your sales data, see what's selling well, identify seasonal trends, and even factor in things like weather or upcoming holidays to predict demand much more accurately than we can on our own.
So it can tell you, hey, you're going to need a lot more of this product in December because it's a popular holiday gift or something like that.
Exactly. And that allows you to order the right amount of stock so you're not constantly running out or ending up with a warehouse full of stuff that's not selling.
Right, it helps you find that sweet spot. The article mentioned a bookstore using AI to manage their inventory.
Yeah, they were using it to track those seasonal spikes in sales for certain types of books. By knowing in advance what was going to be popular, they could make sure they had enough stock on hand to meet demand.
That's a great example. Any specific tools you'd recommend for AI-powered inventory management?
Yeah, there are a few good ones out there. TradeGecko and Sin7 are two that come to mind.
Okay, great. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about social media. It's a huge part of running a business these days, but it can also be a major time suck.
Absolutely. Planning posts, figuring out the best times to post, managing multiple platforms, it can be overwhelming.
For sure. Can AI help with that?
Definitely. There are AI tools that can handle a lot of the heavy lifting for you. They can suggest optimal posting times based on when your audience is most active, help you write engaging captions, and even schedule your posts in advance across different platforms.
So instead of just guessing when to post, AI can analyze the data and tell you, hey, this is the best time to post on Instagram to reach the most people.
Yeah, exactly. And some tools can even analyze your past posts to see what's performed well and suggest similar content that might resonate with your audience.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And the article suggests starting with one platform, like Instagram, and experimenting with letting AI handle some of the tasks while you focus on creating great content.
Right, take it one step at a time. Any specific social media management tools that use AI that you'd recommend?
Yeah, Later and Buffer, both popular options.
Yeah, good to know. The last area the article talks about is voice assistants. We're all used to using Siri or Alexa at home, but how can those be useful in a business setting?
Well, think about all the things you do in your business that involve typing or writing things down.
Taking notes, sending emails.
Exactly. Voice assistants can help you do those things much faster and more efficiently. You can dictate notes after a meeting, set reminders for yourself, check your calendar hands-free, even make phone calls without picking up your phone.
That's really convenient.
And there are tools that take it even further. The article mentions Otter.ai, which can automatically transcribe your meetings.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it can save you a ton of time if you're constantly taking notes or having to transcribe recordings later.
Definitely. So we've covered a lot of ground in terms of how AI can be used. Hopefully it's starting to feel less like a mysterious black box and more like a set of tools you can actually use.
I hope so.
But there are still a lot of fears and misunderstandings about AI. The article addresses some of those, and I think it's important to talk about them. What's the biggest one?
I think the biggest fear is that AI is going to replace all the jobs.
Yeah, that's a common one.
People are worried that robots are going to come in and take over everything.
Right. What does the article say about that?
Well, it points out that AI is primarily designed to assist with tasks, not to replace humans entirely.
Okay.
AI is great at automating those repetitive, data-heavy things. But most jobs require human skills, like creativity, empathy, and critical thinking.
Right.
Those are things that AI, at least in its current form, can't replicate. So instead of thinking about AI as a job killer, it's more accurate to see it as a tool that can free us up to focus on the things we're good at.
The things that make us uniquely human.
Exactly.
What's another common misconception about AI?
Another big one is that it's too expensive for small businesses. We've already talked about some affordable tools, but I think it's worth repeating that there are plenty of AI-powered solutions out there that are specifically designed for small businesses with limited budgets.
And the return on investment can be significant, right?
Absolutely. If AI can save you time, help you make more sales, and reduce your costs, then the investment is often well worth it.
Okay, and the last myth the article debunks is the idea that you need to be a tech expert or know how to code to use AI.
Yeah, that's a big barrier for a lot of people.
It is.
But the good news is that most AI tools these days are designed for regular people.
So you don't need a computer science degree to use them.
You don't.
Right.
Most of them have user-friendly interfaces that anyone can figure out. It's like using any other software application.
That's reassuring to hear. So, for anyone listening who's intrigued by AI and wants to learn a bit more, the article recommends a book, The Master Algorithm by Pedro Domingos. Before we talk about the book, it mentions machine learning as the foundation of AI. Can you explain what that is in simple terms for our listeners?
Sure. So machine learning is basically how AI learns and improves over time. It's like teaching a computer to learn from data without having to explicitly program it for every single scenario. Imagine you're teaching a kid how to ride a bike. You don't give them a detailed instruction manual for every possible situation.
No.
You let them try it, they fall a few times, they figure out what works and what doesn't, and they get better over time. Machine learning is kind of like that. It's about letting computers learn from their experiences and improve their performance based on the data they're given.
Gotcha. So how does the book fit into all of this?
Well, The Master Algorithm is a great book because it explains the 5 main approaches to machine learning, which are basically the underlying technologies that power most AI applications. And the author, Pedro Domingos, does a great job of explaining these complex concepts in a way that's easy to understand even if you don't have a technical background.
So it's about understanding the principles behind how AI learns, rather than learning how to build AI yourself.
Exactly. And even though the book was published back in 2015, it's still incredibly relevant today because those core principles haven't changed.
Right. So what's the key takeaway from the book? Why should our listeners check it out?
The key takeaway is that understanding how AI learns can help you make better decisions about which AI tools to use in your business. If you know how the technology works, you'll be better equipped to choose the right tools for your needs and use them effectively.
That makes sense. So to wrap things up, what's the main message you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
The main message is that AI is not just for big tech companies anymore. It's a powerful tool that can benefit businesses of all sizes, and it's becoming more accessible and affordable every day. There are so many practical ways you can use AI in your business right now to save time, improve customer service, boost sales, and ultimately grow your bottom line.
And the important thing is to just start somewhere, right?
Exactly. Start small, experiment with a few different tools, see what works for you. You don't have to do everything at once.
The article uses the analogy of a Swiss Army knife, which I really like. AI is like a versatile tool that can be used for all sorts of different things.
It is, yeah. The key is to overcome any fear you might have of technology and embrace the potential that AI offers.
I love that. So as you're listening to this, think about your own business. What are some of the challenges you face? What are some of the things that take up a lot of your time? Could AI help you with those things? What could you reimagine or approach differently if you had the power of AI on your side?
Yeah, good questions to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI. Hopefully you found it helpful and you're feeling a little bit more empowered to explore the possibilities of AI in your own business. We'll see you next time.